What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman, and this is not your traditional start to a Caveman video, but literally like 5 minutes ago, the Buffalo Bills have re-signed Matt Milano to a 4-year, $44 million deal with $26 million guaranteed. Brandon Beane has done what looked like the impossible once again. Brandon Beane is a magician. We love Brandon Beane. He's our general manager, and he has re-signed one of the biggest pieces to our defense going into 2021. This is a humongous re-signing. But before I really get into my Matt Milano instant reaction, I just want to say that the second portion of this video was recorded before Matt Milano was signed. So I talk in the past tense a lot, and I'm talking about how John Brown and Quentin Jefferson and the money that they save up for us will help us re-sign Matt Milano if we decide to take that route. But there's a lot in that video that still pertains to a lot that has gone on in the NFL lately, and I still want to release that video. I didn't want to completely, scrap that entire video because Matt Milano just got signed, and I'm talking in the past tense. I didn't want to completely scrap that video, so there's still a lot, like the John Brown Sirius XM interview. There's still a lot going on in that video that I want you guys to check out as well. I'm kind of scrambling right now. I'm kind of all over the place. That's why I'm not like wearing a bandana, dressed up as I usually am, because, shit just happened. It's like Matt Milano just got signed, so now I'm kind of freaking out what I should do, and I wanted to have that video up, but now it's just a whole mess right now. But I hope you stick around for that portion of the video as well, because there's a lot in there that I want to get your guys' thoughts on. But anyway, let's talk about it. Matt Milano re-signed for 4 years, $44 million and $26 million guaranteed. Brandon Beane has once again done the impossible. Matt Milano is once again a Buffalo Bill. As I mentioned in the second portion of the video, or the video that I was originally posting, there are two reasons why this has happened. First reason being, obviously, because John Brown and Quentin Jefferson freed up a lot of cap space. Those releases, they sucked, but at the same time, they are why Matt Milano is here right now. They gave us a lot of money to be able to make this move. And the other reason, as I mentioned later on in the video as well, is Lavonte David taking a team-friendly deal from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lavonte David is one of the best linebackers in the league, and he had recently signed a 2-year, $25 million deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which for him is a pretty team-friendly deal. He took a discount for sure. And Matt Milano is a very good linebacker, but he's not as good as Lavonte David. Let's get that straight right now. And there was no way Matt Milano was getting as much as Lavonte David did. So that Lavonte David signing definitely leveraged in favor of the Bills. Between Lavonte taking the team-friendly deal and John Brown and Quentin Jefferson freeing up $14 million in cap space, those two things heavily contributed to being able to re-sign Matt Milano. And had those two things not happened, I don't think Matt Milano would be a Buffalo Bill as of right now. On top of everything, Matt Milano, I'm sure, loves it here. He wants to compete for a Super Bowl. He knows that this is the best place to do so, especially because he loves it here. He's familiar with all the guys. He just loves Buffalo. He wants to be a part of the squad, and he wants to help the squad win. So on top of all of it, he just simply wants to be a Buffalo Bill as well. Brandon Beane is a wizard. Brandon Beane knows when to hit the pedal to the metal at the right time. He is a freaking mastermind. He is the reason why we have gotten as far as we have. Brandon Beane has been making moves left and right, and he is not going to be finished yet. So there it is, my instant reaction to the Buffalo Bills re-signing Matt Milano. I want you guys to please stick around and check out the second portion of the video, or what would have been my video today, about the John Brown situation with the Sirius XM interview he did. I talked about the Chiefs and their tackles being released. I talked about a lot of different things that I want to get your guys' thoughts on, and I want to hear all your thoughts down below. So let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed the second portion of the video. What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video, and this week has been a mess. Pat McAfee has called it Massacre Week. There has been a lot of players cut because of the lowered cap. There's a lot of guys going down, and a lot of families, a lot of different players are being affected. And you never want to see something like this. Like, it comes down to being a business, but at the same time, it's easier for me to sit here and say, oh, they're business decisions, when they're affecting players and their individual lives and their families and their actual life, man. It's a lot different and deeper than just a business when it comes to the player and individuals. But with that being said, as easy it is for me to say that, it still is a business. And we had a couple guys that we probably would not have wanted to get rid of if it weren't for the cap, and that would be John Brown and Quentin Jefferson. We saved $14 million in cap by releasing them, and there are a lot of other teams too that are going through the same process that we are going through. I mean, the Chiefs just cut 2 of their starting tackles that have been in the league forever, and they've been just absolute star-studded tackles for them over these past couple of years, and they got rid of them as well. So players are going through the same thing as Bills players have. Teams are going through the same thing that the Bills are going through. It is a tough time in the NFL to be an NFL player right now. It's a massacre. It's Massacre Week. People were saying, we wish we could have hung on to John Brown, and I think every single Bills fan would have liked to hang on to John Brown, but a restructure was not possible since he was on the last year of his deal. There really was no way we could keep John Brown. $8 million for a guy that really did not impact us the way we would have liked him to, especially this past year, with Gabe Davis stepping up the way he did. $8 million is a lot of money to be keeping on your roster for a guy that just struggled with injuries, for a guy that was just honestly hanging on to a third wide receiver spot. In the business world, holding on to John Brown just did not make any sense, and the writing was on the wall. Everybody knew this was coming, and obviously when it came, it hit a little differently. Everybody loved John Brown. We all loved John Brown. He was here. He was the first wide receiver one Josh Allen actually really ever had. He was one of those players that was here for the turnaround. You know what I mean? Diggs came after the turnaround, but John John Brown was here for the turnaround. He was here when Josh Allen was just beginning. He helped Josh Allen develop, and he was here during the successful time of Josh Allen, which was last year. So John Brown has seen it all for the Bills over the past couple of years. It's really hard to really let go of a guy like him, because I myself was a humongous fan of John Brown. Like, I love John Brown. He really gave us a very different ability on the field. His ability to stretch the field, his speed was just different. He was a very good wide receiver for Josh Allen. But coming into 2020 with his injuries, the way Gabe Davis came onto the scene, and we drafted Isaiah Hodgins last year with Gabe Davis as well. So we have a lot of wide receivers on our roster. For him to be eating up $8 million, it just can't be happening, you know, especially with a lowered cap. That's just not something we could be having. And the other guy that the Bills went ahead and cut was Quinton Jefferson. He was a guy that was pretty solid in the rotation on the D-line, but he was also a guy that I felt was better than Vernon Butler, but Vernon Butler also agreed to take a pay cut, so you can't really be mad at Beane for making that decision between Jefferson and Butler, which guy you get rid of. Obviously, you're probably going to get rid of the guy that doesn't want to take the pay cut over the guy that is taking the pay cut. I think that's kind of common sense. But something tells me this will not be the end of the massacre for the Bills or for anybody in the NFL. I mean, it's been, what, 3-4 days now into the massacre week, and players have been dropping left and right. This is just the beginning. It's only going to get harder for Bills fans, for Chiefs fans, for Broncos fans, any fans across the league. This is tough. This is a tough time to be going through, because there are going to be guys on your roster that are going to be leaving due to cap issues that have been on your roster for a couple of years now that you may even attach yourself to. And there was actually a Sirius XM radio interview on John Brown floating around over the past 24 hours, and the Sirius XM radio host asked John Brown on his thoughts about being cut from the Bills. In this interview, John Brown said some things that surprised me, and he said some things that didn't surprise me. I'm sure he's going through a roller coaster of emotions. He's feeling a lot of different things. When it comes down to it, the bottom line here is John Brown is a guy that lost his job, and now he's looking for a new job. He was fired. He was essentially fired from his job, and now he needs to look for a new one. It's just like anybody else that's fired from their job. He needs to go and look for a new one. You're going to be going through a different roller coaster of emotions, and that is probably what John Brown was going through in this interview. And I'll throw it up on the screen here. He pretty much said that he was kind of blindsided. He wished that the situation could have been handled differently, and he also was assuming that Josh Allen didn't have his input put in, because if Josh Allen would have put his input in, then he feels like he would have still been on the team because he knew the impact he had on Josh Allen. I think that's pretty much what I got from it. I don't think that's really the truth, honestly. You know, John Brown said it himself. The writing was on the wall with the way the money was falling, and I don't know if anything Josh Allen could have said would have saved John Brown. The impact that John Brown had on the team in 2020 is undeniable, and it was not as big as some of the other wide receivers we had on our roster. I don't think Josh Allen could have went to Brandon Beane and said, I want this guy on our team. I want him. He's my favorite receiver. I don't think there's anything Josh Allen could have said that would have refuted the evidence of what he did in 2020 with all the injuries he suffered, with Gabe Davis emerging. There's nothing Josh Allen could have said that could have saved John Brown, because that $8 million was just too much money to hold on to. Like I said, I don't really fault John Brown for this. I'm sure he's going through a lot of different emotions. I'm sure he loved Buffalo. I mean, he did love Buffalo. I know he loved Buffalo just as much as everybody that comes to Buffalo does. He loved it here. He probably obviously did not want to leave. He wanted to be here for as long as he could. So I'm sure this is causing him to feel a whole ton of different things. So yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for Quinton Jefferson. I feel bad for whoever else is going through this. This sucks, man. This really does freaking suck. So obviously, as much as cutting John Brown and Quinton Jefferson sucks, we get $14 million from cutting them, and that opens the door to a lot of different things. Signing Matt Milano becomes much more of a possibility with that $14 million, especially when the Buccaneers re-signed Lavonte David, who's widely considered one of the best linebackers in the league, at 2 years for $25 million, and Matt Milano is not as good as Lavonte David, so we'll definitely be able to get him cheaper if we want to. There's no way Matt Milano demands 2 years at $25 million at the same price Lavonte David did, so I can't imagine that he'll be that price. So we'll be able to get him a little cheaper if we do re-sign Matt Milano, so that door reopens. Also, with the departure of John Brown, there are a lot of different people that are speculating bringing in a different wide receiver. I saw people mention Marvin Jones. I can't imagine Marvin Jones is coming to the Bills for any less than like $7 million a year, and at that point, you're better off just keeping John Brown. I don't know what the point is in bringing in a different receiver for the same price. I don't know. I don't see the point in bringing in a new receiver. I think who we have is perfectly fine. I think Gabe Davis stepped into that wide receiver 3 role perfectly fine. I don't know why we would sign a different receiver or draft another. I don't know. Receivers should not be a topic of conversation right now, in my personal opinion. We have the wide receiver core set, hence why we released John Brown. If we go out and get a receiver that is just as good or even better than John Brown, he's going to be wanting the same money that John Brown was, costing us. So I'm not sure what the point in that would be, but that's just Bills Mafia, Bills Twitter being crazy. And a free agent that that is out there, Bills Mafia has their nose in. They're looking for a way to sign them. They want them. Any free agent out there, the Bills Mafia is just tweaking about wanting to get. But who knows what we're going to do? There's a lot of different things that need to pan out still. There's a lot of different players that need to be evaluated, whether they need to be cut, whether re-signing them. Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe potential trade, a potential big offseason signing. There's a lot of shit that needs to go down, not only with the Bills, but with every other team in the NFL. This offseason is only going to get crazier. I feel like I've been talking about how crazy this offseason is going to be for at least a month now, but now it's finally getting started and I can't be any freaking happier. So as things start to go down with the Bills and across the league, I will, continuously be covering them, giving my 2 cents on every situation that I possibly can that I feel is worth my time. But I, of course, want to know what you guys think of not only the Bills, but the situations across the league. I want to know your thoughts down below in the comments. I always appreciate you guys leaving your thoughts down below. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you want to hit the bell to be notified when I upload, I would appreciate that. If you want to go over to Twitter and follow me over there, I would appreciate that as well. But I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.